Hello, don't know whether you can see me. I'm just going to have a quick check if you can hear me and can see me. Um, so let's have a quick look. And so OBS should be showing my screen fully, which is weird. So its resolution should update in a minute. And then we could go from there. Let's go, can anyone hear me? Yeah, and see. Oh, wicked. So you can you see my full screen on Unity? Let's just double check that. See full screen on Unity. I realise this is coming across. Can hear and see very zoomed in. Yes, I don't know why OBS is doing that, because it should be not zoomed in. It should be perfectly not zoomed in. Let's have a look, because hopefully. So my Unity is still very zoomed in, isn't it? Same but you. Oh, that looks a bit better. It seems we might be getting there eventually. Cool. So I don't know how delayed we are behind. I'm going to try. I've got like a computer up there to show the messages as well, but that seems to. Oh, that seems really delayed, doesn't it? That seems a little bit better. Cool. Lovely. Well, I'll try and keep up with. That's better. Leave it. You fixed it. I know. Terrible. Cool, lovely. I'm going to begin here. No, that's a little bit behind, but that's absolutely fine. Hello, welcome. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, or seen me do one of these videos before, do not worry. Obviously, I'm here for a very long time, so I'm going to be going through how to create a non-playable character dialogue system within Unity. We're going to go through using it as a first person. This is because within this project, a first person controller is going to be used in our FMP as well. So with that, first things we're going to do is, so if you've got Unity on or the other side or you're taking notes, what we're going to do first is just create our kind of plane for our game. Okay, so let's go edit, game objects. Let's just get a plane in there. Lovely. Double click. Might just make that a little bit bigger. Use our rectal. Fantastic. Cool. I'm going to call this floor. Lovely. and then let's go see if the asset store is going to let us play about. So what I'm going to do is show you what you can download on the asset store. So what I'm going to do is type in first person, and let's drag this down a little bit so we can see what's going on. Search first person, accept those cookies, and then if you go into here and download this first person all in one. Okay, so if you've never used Unity before, don't worry about it. If you're absolutely brand new to this stream, obviously I have no idea how many people are streaming right now. If you are all of my class, that's fantastic. You're getting a free session late at night. Sounds weird, doesn't it? If not, if you are brand new to this, do not worry. I will be talking about the course and what we do on the course as well. So, but for now, if you are privy to a little bit of Unity, go onto the asset store, type in the first person all-in-one, and we're going to download this. So if you've downloaded this before, don't worry, that's perfectly fine. What you can do, if you have downloaded this before, is go to Window, go to Package Manager, and you can actually now, within Package Manager, see what you've downloaded before. Or it might be Asset Manager actually. Do Asset Management. Let's have a look at that. Or let's go actually back to here. And then we could probably change this into My Assets. So if you've downloaded this before, this is almost like a really easy and a way easier way of finding assets. So you can scroll down here, load more. Obviously, I've done about 6,000 tutorials, so I've downloaded lots of different things. And as you can see, I should be able to find, there we go, first person all-in-one, downloaded it before. So I'm just going to click download again. So this is a way easier way if you have downloaded a load of assets before and you can't be asked essentially to go through to Asset Store, you can go and download them here like that. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Awesome. So I'm going to take my time, explain lots of things because I know I'm here for a fair amount of time. I do have dinner at one point, but I'll sort of maybe do a break bit at some point and go and get some food or something like that. And you should do the same as well. So for the next asset we're going to download our NPC. So what I'm going to do is search for assets. I'm going to type in my name. I know that sounds weird, but there's a free like robot asset called Kyle, weirdly. So if we type that in, if we just type in Kyle, then we scroll down, there we go, we can see that first. I've already downloaded him as well. If we click on him here, so if you type in Space Robot Kyle for free, we can quickly just download him. I'm just going to click that there. There we go, fantastic. And then again, I'm going to click import and click import there. Awesome. Cool. So we've got our two main things. We've got our first person and we've got our space robot Kyle. So aptly named, I feel. Cool, lovely. So we can use Mixamo, and if we've got some time, what we'll do, we'll go into Mixamo and get some animations going as well. But for now, we're just going to use this robot as essentially a placeholder and just get him into our scene. So we double click. Let's go to models. There he is. Let's just get him in there. Get him on that floor. It's quite a big floor. So we double click onto him here. We can then move. Yeah, it looks pretty good there. And let's have a look what my directional light's doing. It's because I probably turned off generate baking, isn't it? I can. Yeah, it looks horrible, doesn't it? initial lighting with Unity, I never get on with it. So I'm just going to leave it at 1 and just going to look miserable. Cool, lovely, fantastic. Cool, and then the next thing I'm going to do is get our first person in there. Did that even download? Where did that go? Oh, I think I downloaded it but didn't import it. That's classic me. There we go, import and import. Cool, so how this is going to work is we're initially going to create a real simple setup for our NPC system. So if you're thinking of want something really basic, we'll go through the basic things. If you're thinking I want to talk to multiple people and I want different text popping around and stuff like that, well, we're going to have to start creating singletons and instances where we have a main manager script controlling all of our text, all of our cameras, and all of our UI as well. So that's what we're going to get into. So the further we go into up to 8 o'clock, the deeper we'll get. And that's a lot like the course as well on the H&D Games Design. We start off looking at the basics. You may have done things on level 2 or level 3, or may have never done games design before. It doesn't matter. We always do like a real nice intro into C# when you start. So, and we always use Unity. Unity seems to be the one for understanding code a little bit easier. There is Unreal, but if you want to do games art and visual scripting, that's the way to go. But again, you know, those visual scripting machines were built by using actual code initially, so I always sort of go back to the old school of initial coding. It will always be sought after, whether it's creating software apps, websites, or things for Unity, mechanics, anything like that. You know, it's going to be the notch on your belt when it comes to your CV at the end of the day. So that's why we teach it here. Okay, so let's get this first person controller in. There we go, there we go. And it's just already created as a prefab. And I'm just going to stick him in there. Lovely. And so as you can see, it's halfway into the ground. So let's pull him up. Lovely. And we can see that our robot is a midget. So let's go on to here. Let's see what 2 does. Whoa, huge. Let's try 1.5. 1.5 and 1.5. Lovely, fantastic. So let's press play. Oh, what I'm actually going to do before I do that is what I'm going to do is click maximize and play. You don't need to do this, but all I'm going to do is something about audio clip, not to worry about it. Every time I press play to show an example, this whole screen is going to change, so you can see that I'm going to go up to my robot dude and I can see what the issue is. Lovely, cool. Cool, he's a bit taller than me, but do you know what? For a conversation, that is going to work perfectly fine with me. Lovely. Okay, so what we're going to do first is almost like house rules. Whenever we're going to create a code and whenever we want to trigger something, we usually use something called tags. So tags or layers is something that can be found within our game specifically. So if we want a player to look at or read at something, we will use something called a tag. Okay. So if I click on my player here, we can already see that this prefab is set to player already. And if I click that, a load of defaults are there as well as untag, respawn, and finish, and things like that. And we can create our own tags as well. But as long as our player is a tag, that is perfectly fine. Cool, lovely. So I've got some notes here. Let's have a look. Cool. So our robot dude or robot Carl, he's absolutely fine as he is there. So what we're going to do is we're going to initially create a trigger for our first person to walk into activate with a key, and then we can go into some dialogue. So that would be our simple system. So, but we need to create a contact area first. So what we're going to do is, so to make sure that we don't get confused with everything within our Kyle robot, we're going to right click on our Kyle robot and create an empty game object. So still parented with the robot, but just makes life a little bit easier and then hopefully a little bit more simple for you to see on the screen. Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to call this contact area. Okay, and then we're going to add a box collider. And as we can see where that box collider is initially turned up, we can sort this box collider out. So if we double click on our robot, we can then manage this box collider. So if we hit our edit collider here, let's drag that up. Dragging that up to his feet, make sure that is at his feet. Awesome. And then so obviously I'm now going to make that collider a bit wider, probably make it a bit wider around the edges as well. Lovely, fantastic. So we can clearly see his area there. That's where I am. I might just pull myself back a little bit. So if I click on that contact area again, we can see that we can then walk into that contact area to have a conversation with our robot. Lovely. Cool. So for now, with this collider, we can just set this as a trigger as well. Cool. I'll give you some time if you are writing some notes. I'm not going to delete this afterwards, so you can watch this whenever and watch me get it all wrong at the start and stuff like that as well. So I'm not going to delete this recording. This recording will just be massive and like 3 hours long of creating an NPC dialogue system. Okay, so one of the other things that I've seen, and I'm really scared of touching any of this now, because I was going to show you some examples of some NPC dialogue, but I've seen like the remake of Spyro, and even the old school one of Spyro, where you would go up to a character like another dragon, for example, press X or circle to have a conversation with them, and then the camera would revert into this different position to have a conversation with our character. And that's what we're going to do here as well. So I think that might be, I don't really play many RPGs, but I'm thinking it might be an RPG thing. If you go up to a character, then the camera will go into, you add another camera, and that camera will go into a fixed position, and then you'd start having your conversation with your NPC. So with that, what we're going to do is we are going to create a camera within our hierarchy. So we're going to right click and go down to camera. Wicked. So we can probably, let's rename this dialog camera. Lovely, fantastic. So and at the moment, as we can see in our game mode, our camera is already taken over. You can see this here, and if we pull this out here, we can see that this camera, our dialog camera that we've just renamed, is already taken over. This is because it's using something called depth. And if we look on our camera, we can see that here. So we can see depth, and depth is set at 0. So if you ever made a 2D game and we looked at layers initially, that's exactly the same as this, but it's just for cameras and it's known as depth. Okay. So if we let's have a look at so we've actually got 1 million cameras going on here at the moment. So main camera, I'm going to delete that. I don't need that because I've got a first person, we've also got a dialogue camera, and we've also got a camera within our first person. So within our first person, we can have a drop down, have a look, and then as we can see, we've got player camera there, fantastic. And the depth is also at 0. So if we're going to code this and make that camera pop out on enable and disable, the best bet, just so we don't get any glitches or bugs when we call up our dialog camera, is to make sure dialog camera is a layer higher or a depth higher than our main first person camera. So what we're going to do is set that to 1. Nothing will change because obviously it's already the default camera there. But as I said, in case we get any bugs or glitches or anything like that, it's best to keep it at a depth of 1. So it's the higher camera. But at the moment, we're not in any kind of dialogue with our NPC. So, but what we can do is get this camera into a good position. So what we can do is, at the moment, it's facing the completely opposite way. So let's rotate this camera, our dialogue camera, by 180. Lovely, there he is. We can lift that camera up as well. I might have to do something about the lighting because it's looking terrible. And then I might add a little bit of rotation. So you can do what you please with your camera here. There you go, that looks quite good. So we're looking down on him. Might make it a bit there. Cool. So, and then we can adjust. We've got these little edit bars, as you can see, these little edit blocks to maybe zoom in a little bit more. That looks quite good. We've got a bit of headspace, but I'm not too worried about that. That looks okay. I'm quite happy with that. Cool. So let's have a look at. Oh, if I'm going to fiddle with my lighting now, and I'm totally going to regret it. I know this. Rendering light settings. Let's pop this into here very quickly. I know it doesn't allow auto generate. There we go. So if I turn that off, is it just gonna? Cool, lovely. Just auto generated that. So it looks a lot better already. Fantastic. So, and I'm happy with this view of our camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to disable this camera because we want this camera to pop up when we're in the conversation, when we're in dialogue. So at the moment, we're just going to disable it, and then once we trigger it in, boom, we will go into conversation like that with our robot. Cool, lovely. So let's go into assets. Let's create a brand new folder. Let's call this scripts. Make sure I can write that properly. And again, we always do like a folder system within Unity just to get everything right and dandy and everything like that. Cool. So I'm just having a look at the chat before we create a script. When are we having our post-drink grad drinks? Well, when COVID is over, Archie. Hello, hi Adam. Cool. So what we're going to do is go into this folder, and then we're going to create our C# script, and we're going to just call this NPC for now. And we're going to add this script to our contact area. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so now I'm getting nervous about this. I'll open Visual Studio and just make sure it's just going to capture this and actually work. Got 10 watching. That's 10 more than I thought of initially, so that's good. Cool. Is there a quick shout out to people who are actually following along, or are they just kind of watching this while other stuff goes on, or they actually got Unity up and stuff's going on, or not? Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we initially added in our camera, didn't we? So what we'll do is make this private, and we can call this, well, let's call it dialog camera, or so it'll be a game object, and underscore dialog cam. Cool. So put underscores for privates, and for publics I don't put underscores. It just makes life a hell of a lot easier once you've got a lot of code, and we'll be getting to a stage where we have a hell of a lot of code within this session. Ew, my tea's gone cold. Cool, so what we're going to do, once that's private, we can serialize this field. There we go. And then we can, let's just add it here. We can create, actually I might need to update it a bit later, so I'll put it under here. So we're going to create our trigger. So for a really, really nice and simple system, essentially. So what we're going to do is we are going to put private void and then on trigger, enter. Okay. Or could we do something different? Let's do something different. Do I want to do on trigger, enter? What else could we use? I'm going to, let's change this. Let's change this. I think, is there on trigger stay? Cool. Let's use something we haven't used before. On trigger stay. So what with this is something will trigger if we stay within our collider. So if we stay within our box collider, then we can trigger something. So what we're going to say once we've done that is if we input, so if we press on a button, so get button down, let's say key code and that classic dot E for enable. So what's going to happen once we've got key code dot E? What is going to happen? Oh no, not get button down. It's going to be get key. Oh dear, it's all going wrong. There we go. Let's not get button down. Get key. Get key down. There we go. Cool. So input dot get key down, key code dot E. So what we can say is that we're going to activate our dialog camera dot set active. We're not going to say it is true. Okay. Cool. So let's see if we can get this working. So we're going to save that script. Or actually, I might hang there for a second. If you are writing this down, I'll let you write it down or take a photo of it or something like that. That's absolutely perfectly fine. Some people taking notes. Some people taking notes. Cool. Lovely. Some people saying they got Unity up. That's cool. Fantastic. Lovely. I'll let you take some notes as well. I'm always realizing that I am 30 seconds ahead. So, okay, cool. So let's save this script. And then if we go into our contact area, we can see that we're now asking for the dialog camera. We've got our dialog camera that's grayed out because it's disabled, and obviously we're going to enable it when we are in our triggered area. So what's this going on about? Not going to worry about any of that. So if we press play, lovely, here we are. Oh, my lighting's gone again, fantastic. So here we go, here's my area. If I press E, lovely, there we go. We've gone into my camera view, activated that separate camera. Fantastic, cool, so that works, lovely, cool. Cool, so if I press play, I'm just going to do it with the lighting on just to make sure. Whoa, that's so bright. So here we go, walking up to my robot. I'll do it from a completely different angle, so we're still in his trigger, and then press E. There we go, fantastic. So we've activated that camera. Brilliant. Cool. I hope that works for people. So I'll give you about a minute or two just to make sure it's working and get it all sorted out. Cool. Okay, hopefully it's working for you guys. It's the problem with these live videos. You can't then just suddenly help people because then it's like 30 seconds behind and stuff, and it's really annoying. So, and this is my first like live stream where you could see me as well. Weird, hideous. Okay, so we've tested the scene. Now we need to think about. Let's have a look at this. So let's have a look at this again. E. See, that works quite well. So if we look at this script that I've created, we can see that input is not the best thing to put into triggers. So if you're currently working on unit 70 and you want to try and hit those merit and distinctions, this will definitely help you. So input is not the best thing to implement into a trigger, because these triggers are not really, they're looking for the collider. It literally says it here. It doesn't really care about input. It will work, but sometimes they can lag. So as we're adding more of a complicated NPC dialogue system into this, I'm gonna have a little bit of an edit around. So what we're gonna do is let's create a ball. So let's call this private ball, and we'll call this dialogue. I can't spell anymore. Dialogue available, and we'll call equals to false. Lovely. Let's have a quick look at the messages. Cool, no worries. So we've got a private ball, and we can dictate within our trigger whether you are available or not to activate the dialogue. Okay, so what we're going to do is we can take this and we're going to cut and paste this out of here. So let's go Command or Control X, and we're going to put that into update. That will run a lot better in there, but we still need to say something within our on trigger stay, or we could probably, we don't actually even need that anymore. Let's leave that there for now. Let's say on trigger enter. This is my original plan, so we'll go with this. So on trigger enter, and then within on trigger enter we can say if other.tag, which are all, I love tags. Every time someone says to me, how do we do this? I'm usually like, well, here's the tag. So make sure you can spell player as well. And we can, the thing about this, and the reason I always say, oh, use layers, use tags, use this, use that, is it's the absolute fundamentals and you can't go wrong with it, really. So if you implement that first and then get it working and then find another system that works later, fantastic. But this is kind of the bread and butter and kind of the way I've been taught as well, of, you know, see if you can do it with a trigger and a collider and this and that first and stuff like that, and then you can make it a little bit more complicated afterwards. So with that on trigger enter, we are going to say underscore dialog available is going to be true because we will be in that collider. So we've created a true or false statement just to allow input to flow a lot better when we create a more complicated dialogue system. Okay, that's the reason why we've done it. Cool. And then obviously we don't want this to work when we're out of that trigger. So let's say on trigger exit. And here we're going to say just again, if other dot tag equals player. We can then say it's pretty much exactly the same, dialog available equals back to false. Lovely. That should sort that out. So if we save this, and yeah, I was just thinking that this will help totally for Unit 70 because we're making things a little bit more complicated, adding a ball and everything like that as well. So if we go here, so hopefully by adding the ball, this should still work. So go into my collider, press E, lovely, fantastic. That's still working. And now it's working with an update instead of the trigger because that can sometimes be unresponsive. So we are thinking about I can't think of the word, but the what's the word I'm looking for? My brain is just absolutely fried. Just for the mechanics to flow and work a lot better and easier. Okay, cool. All right, so now we've got that. We are going to add some dialogue and some like a background panel and things like that. Okay, so we'll do this and then I'm going to go on a break and then we'll come back. So let us see. Let's enable. Let's get off this. Let's enable our dialog camera so we can see it because we want to put it in our UI and our background panel. So what we're going to do first is right click on dialog camera, go to UI, and we're going to go to panel. And that will create, as you see, this white haze over this camera already. So what we can do is, if we double click, let's rename panel first to dialog panel, everything dialog. You're going to spell dialog about 1 million times within this session. So if I double click on panel, we can see there it is, absolutely fantastic. And we can use our rect tool, there it is, rect, to pull this down like that. Lovely. That looks quite good. So obviously, you know, you could create, what's going on here? You can create your own UI like bar or whatever in Photoshop and then export it over into Unity. And as we can see here, source image is just the background, the color. You can then change all of that within Unity. So always do it over in Photoshop or something like that. Make it look cool in Photoshop and then bring it over to here. I'll keep fiddling with this. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Cool, but you can change this however it pleases you. If you're implementing this into another game, I would advise give this a try out in a separate game first, like we're doing, then implement it into your game once you've understand it all and we can get it all nice and fixed and everything like that. Cool, so once we've got our dialog panel, we can then right click on dialog panel, or should we add that in, let's think about text. Yeah, let's right click on here and then go UI text. Lovely. And then with this text, we can, has it appeared? Yeah, it's just midget, really small. Let's name this dialog text. Lovely, fantastic. Cool, so that looks pretty centered at the moment. What we're going to do is we could probably make this, renamed it. Let's have a look at the font size. Cool. So you can see where my text just suddenly disappears once I'm changing the size. It's because we need to have a look at that rect tool. So what I'm going to do is center this first. Let's center this in alignment. So in alignment, I've just centered that off. Let's look at our rect tools. Let's click on that. On the wrong way around. So let's flip that around. So we can probably make this rect tool a bit bigger. Something like that. That's looking good. And then we can change the font size so it's quite nice and clear and readable. So I'm going to pull that over there. Pull that over there. I'm going to center this, but you can also click on the center here. And if you hold Alt on your keyboard, we can center that. And as you can see, it's slightly moved there. So it's in the center of the dialog panel. Okay. So again, you know, I purposely right-clicked on the panel, then added the text because then it's a parent to it, so it won't look all weird and funky on the dialog text. So in the text, let's write NPC conversation, because that's going to be cool. So this should, if I keep typing, should just go on to the next line. Yeah, fantastic. Cool. Lovely. And again, I might just make that a little bit wider. Cool. So if I do have lots of text in there, I've got enough space for it. Cool, lovely. So we've got our text size up, got that at 72, that's looking good. Really not much to change, really. If we've changed the rect tool size, then we should be pretty much okay. If you haven't changed the rect tool size, you can go to the horizontal overflow and click on overflow, and that will allow the text to go beyond the rect tool size, but then it's really difficult to manage because it won't go onto a separate line. So if you want text all to go on one line, make sure that you've changed your horizontal overflow to overflow and not wrap, because at the moment it's wrapping into that rect tool box that we've created here. Okay, cool. So we've aligned it, we've named it. We don't need to tag it to anything because we'll just do what we've done before and get it to pop up in, we'll call it up as a game object like we did with the camera within our script. So let me So what we're going to do is I'll script this because just hit 6 o'clock. We'll script this really quickly, get that appearing up, and then I'm going to go to the loo, and I'll be back. Let's say for like 10 minutes. It doesn't take me 10 minutes to go to the loo, but I might get another drink or something like that. Cool, lovely. So yeah, let's script this really quickly. So let's go on to our camera, and then we can disable that, and then that takes out everything in there. Cool. Would I want that? Let me think. If I let me think, would I want that outside or inside? For any means, let me think. Let's see how that works at the moment, because that's not appearing there. So we might not even have to implement that in. We go up to him, press E. Oh, blimey, look at that border there, that border is really disgustingly high up. Cool. So I need to have a look at this from let's have a look at this. Let's turn this back on. Oh no, it's just the camera off. That's gone quite high up, isn't it? So let's have a look at this. It doesn't look that high there. That's my whole screen. How weird that it looks so weird in there. It should be fixed. Listen to me, go in there. Oh no, here we go. So if I stick that down there like that, let's play this now and have a look. Cool. Oh, hang on, how did that happen? Was I even playing? What happened? Let's press play. Oh, because I didn't disable the camera. Idiot. Okay, so let's disable the camera. Press play. Cool. Let's see if we've got this looking any better. Go up to our robot, press E. That's looking better. I don't mind it that it's cut off the sides. That's cool with me. I might make it a little bit bigger, but I'm fine with that. That's cool. Okay, so that's already appearing up in script, isn't it? Because we've disabled it. Oh, let me think of the errors that could create if I just if it all comes in from the camera. Could that create issues? Right, let's quickly turn that camera on, pull that canvas out of there. So pull the event system under there. So if we put that out, and we put that out. So that's still there. If I put that into, is that going to create any problems for our camera? It could do. It could do, it could do, it could do. So okay, so we need to, let's do this properly. Instead of hiding it in the camera, let's actually make it disappear in scripts instead of just kind of cheating like that. So let's open up our script. Let's create a new variable. So this is going to be exactly like the camera. So if we say private game object, then I know we can get this all sorted out, and then we'll just call this panel. Lovely. And then we'll serialize that field again, just in case it creates any issues at all. And then we can say, we haven't got our text yet, have we? Nope. So we can do that in a minute. Let's go here and let's go to underscore dialog panel dot set active, and we'll set that to true. Just in case, I know you can parent it and it will do the same thing, but I just, knowing me and my luck, something will go wrong and it won't appear or something like that. So that's the last thing I need. So if we put that into there, will that be okay? Let me think. It should be okay. Let's save that. Let's have a look. So let's click on dialog panel. Let's make that disappear. Press play. Walk up to him. Lovely. Press E. Oh, now it doesn't appear. Helpful. Let's have a look. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, okay. Yep. You need to make sure. And so we need to quickly add our dialog ball. Dialog available. Equals true. Let's save that. Cool. Back into Unity. Oh, I know why it didn't work, because I didn't drag it either in the flipping contact area. So if we go to Dialog panel, that's probably would have worked. And make sure we drag in our Dialog panel. I'm going crazy here. Make sure we do that and drag that in. Let's quickly save this as well. Let's press play. Up to our robot. Ooh, too close. Press E. Lovely. There we go. And the conversation pops up as well. Cool. So we've called up our camera, our custom camera, our dialog camera, and our dialog panel, which is parented of our text, as we can see here. Within our hierarchy, we've then, we've pulled canvas out of camera. We can put them all in together and make them appear. I just think there will be issues when we start to create strings and arrays of different text popping through. So, yeah, I think that's probably the best way of going about it. Hopefully that works for everybody. What I'll do is I'm going to go to the loo, have something to eat, or at least put something in the microwave, and then I'll come back, see how you're doing, if it's all working out. If it's not working, I can quickly do a bit of a quiz, and I'll be back. So what's the best way to do this? It's probably to add an image on top of this, isn't it? So let's go to let's have a look at what window capture does. Oh, blimey, lots of things. Look at that lovely desktop picture. Click OK. Cool. So this should pop over everything, and then I am here, but I'm also hiding as well. So cool. I will be back. I'm just going to mute my microphone as well, and I'll be back in, so what, it's 10 minutes, so 20 minutes. I'll be back at 20 past 6. Okay, so let's say back at 6:20. Cool, lovely. boo. Hope you're all doing okay and you've been sticking something in the microwave or cooking something or having something to eat. Not staring at the computer all day. It's never good to do that. I hope you're all alright. Lovely. Cool. So, my meal is going around in the microwave, so I will go and grab that in a second, but I'm just seeing if everyone is okay following along. We'll get that text and get those arrays and strings popping up in a second. Lovely. Cool. Right. So we are going to use an array. Lauren Penny's favourite piece of code. So we're going to open up our NPC script. Let's have a look. And we're going to create, let's do this, put under here so we can separate it all out. So we're going to say private string, and we can call this, should we just call this dialog? Yes, we shall. So we put this little box here to say what we are going to array or what we are going to string within our, and if we serialize field it, we can say how many strings, items, you know, you can use this for inventory, stuff like that as well, of how many of those things that we're going to have. We are also going to create another private text. That's, oh yeah, okay, so cool. What we need to do is go up to here, go to using Unity engine .ui, because we want that text to pop up, and then we can say text, and then we can call this our dialog text. Cool, lovely. Right. Cool. So then in update, so we've got these two new, we've got a string and a text variable, and at the end, at the bottom of this, let's put dialog dot text, dialog text dot text, and then we can say equals our actual dialog of our string. So it's asking here for a number, and we want our text to start at the first text. So remember, whenever we talk about numbers within Unity, even if we're centering something off, remember 0 is always the first number. So if we put 0 in there, that will be the first number we start off at. Cool. So let's save this, and then if we go into we then can see in our contact area, then got dialog. If we click down that arrow, we've got size. Then if we type in 3, bam, we have 3 elements, and we could type in 3, 4, doesn't matter, but 3 seems like a magic number. So as I go and grab my microwave meal, I want you to write in some text within those elements, and of what's happening. So this, I'm going to create a scenario for my robot. So he's going to say, Captain, the ship is unrepairable. You must evacuate. Evac. evacuate. There we go. Cool. So once we've done that, so we've created a string and also started creating this conversation. Let's save that. Let's press play. And at the moment, obviously, we haven't changed anything, so we need to go up to our robots, press E, and then bang. Oh, it still says NPC conversation. Right, what do we need to change? Oh, where's our text? Our text hasn't popped up. What's happening there? Private. Oh, we haven't serialized it. Sorry. Let's serialize the text. Cool. So if we serialize that field and then we go save. So the string is looking for the text. So that's our issue. So if you save that, then we can see dialog text there. There we go. And if we drag in dialog text, boom, save that very quickly, press play. Look up our robot, go up to our robot, press E. There we go, it says captain. So we've already linked in our text into that very well. Lovely, fantabby doozy. Cool. So what I'm going to do is quickly, I probably went through it quite quick. So I'm going to leave you with those text bits and I'm just going to grab my dinner. 7 dedicated people. Fantastic. Just realised I just left the webcam on in my house. Lovely. Tell that I don't do a lot of streaming. So, let me have a look at the chat. Nothing more. Cool. I'm guessing because no one's saying anything, it's all going well and stuff like that. So that's great. That's awesome. So our string or array is allowing us to have multiple pieces of text throughout. But obviously this can be, because we've linked here, we have said our text is our string dialog there. This can be done for game objects, this can be done for infantry, this can be done for ammunition, different types of characters, different skins for characters. This can be used for multiple different things. So strings are very cool. And thinking about it, probably might use them for different weapon rotations in the FPS. I haven't written that part yet, but we'll definitely get to that part for the FPS. Has anyone any good ideas for the Xbox and Rare live brief yet? So I felt that chat may have not really helped on on Monday, but that Force for Good, it is a very hard project, but at the same time, you know, I think it's a good one to get you thinking, get you researching properly. So it is really, really interesting. So, right, let's meet this bit now. Let's have a look. So blah 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 blah. Where are we at? So okay, we've done that. We've dragged the text in from the block. Hope you've written your text as well. Okay, let's create our button. Had a few ideas, mainly focusing on mental health. Luke, I think that would be an absolute brilliant idea. I think it's quite an open book, isn't it? It's how I feel about mental health is it's important to approach it, but you need to approach it in the right angle. So research does need to be done really, really well. Are you thinking just mental health in general, or are you thinking of doing like a specific thing? That'd be really interesting. And while we're having that conversation, if you want to click on panel, right click on panel, let's make that appear actually so we can see what we're doing. Right click on panel, go to UI and go to button. And once we click on button, obviously it's going to be really tiny. Let's see what the rect tool does to that actually. Let's double click on that. So the rect tool, make it bigger, does it blur it? Oh, it looks okay. Cool, so let's make that a little bit bigger. So again, using the rect tool just to make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to position this over in the corner. Zoom out a little bit. Cool, and we can call this, let's call this next button. That will work for me. So if we click on button, let's rename this to next button. And let's make that text a little bit bigger as well. So within the text, the next button, you'll be able to click and hit on text as well, and you'll be able to size that text up. Lovely. So I'm going to call, in the text, I'm just going to type in next, and you can put something like that. Oh, I don't know, that looks actually dodgy as. So let's have something like that. That looks cool. So when it comes to doing your presentation for where we've got like professional microphones you can do it with and everything if you want to, that's absolutely fine. Obviously if you want to be filmed, that's absolutely fine as well. I'm guessing a lot of people probably more go for dictation than anything over their slides. As just to reiterate, as I said on Monday, I think it's really important, just in case they get the wrong end of the stick for your game and don't get it. I'd hate for that if you put all that effort in and then they're like, don't really get it, move on. And, you know, with just a bit of clarification from like maybe a voiceover or dictation, it could really, really help. So, no, I think that'd be, yeah, really beneficial for that. Cool. Right, I hope you're creating your buttons and you're putting them in position. Yeah, that could be a really cool mechanic as well with bipolar, of like, you know, almost like losing control or, you know, inverting the controls almost at random points. So would you want the player to feel the effects of bipolar or understand the condition more? Because I think there's two ways you can go with it, or try both. But no, I like it. Cool. We've got our next button. That's cool. I'm happy with that. So we can leave that for now. That's fine. We'll implement that in. So we essentially are. This is essentially like the halfway point now, where if you wanted to create a very nice and easy dialogue system where you essentially repeat the process on every single NPC, you can do that. Okay, you can duplicate this over, duplicate the camera over, and each one you go to, you can write different things within those strings. But if we want to look at more intermediate level or advanced level within the scripting and have one manager rule over all of the text, all of the cameras and everything like that, how would we do that? So what we're going to do is going to make sure that we can do it with the text, because I think that's the most important part, obviously, of a dialogue system. If the camera doesn't work, that's okay, that's fine. We can either get rid of that element and just have the FPS controller use that camera, or could we, I'm just trying to think if we could create a state every time for that camera to then move direction, but then that could cause lag. Then we might have to do an instantiate every time. or do we do separate cameras? Trying to think. Doesn't matter. Let's focus on making a dialogue manager system for what we've got. Let's try that, shall we? Okay, so let's create a new empty object. So yeah, empty object, and we're going to call this our dialogue manager. So let's try not to hit the knife out of the way. Dialogue manager. Fantastic. And I'm just going to zero this out so it's in the center of the game. Doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter it's there. Doesn't matter what it is doing. Then we are going to create a script. And we're going to call this Dialog Manager as well. Cool. And 10 guesses where that Dialog Manager script is going to go. It's going to go straight into the Dialog Manager. Oh, it's compiling still. Come on, what are you doing? Give it a minute. Click on there. There we go, and drag it back in. Lovely. Cool. So we're going to create a Dialog Manager from an empty. Have that in our hierarchy. I've just zeroed that out so it's in the center of our game. Created a Dialog Manager script and added that script onto our Dialog Manager game objects within our scene. And what we want to achieve here is one system controlling all of our dialogue. Okay. As I said, the easy thing to do would be just duplicate this, add it to another trigger, do it again, blah, blah, blah. But what if we had one system where a game designer can come in, have this system put in place, and just go bang, 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 bang with all those different text conversations as well. And we can get the button implemented in it as well. So, and that would be really, really handy. So, what we're going to do is let's click on here and change tab, and let's change this to scripting API. Maybe an instance. Let's have a look at an instance. Let's look at this. Let's have a look. This is what happens if I type in Singleton. It's not what I'm looking for. Let's have a look. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look at that. Returns a Singleton instance of a player connection. So let's put the words together. Singleton instances. We did this. I think we've done this. We've done this in 2D, where I think we created, where we looked at instances, where we created one script that was controlling other scripts. Okay. Instance object. Maybe it's instance object. Can't remember what it is. Don't laugh at me. Override instance object, maybe. Object instantiate. I can't remember what it is. Someone's got to type it up and. Awesome, Luke. That sounds like a brilliant idea. I can't find what I'm trying to say. But if it is just games designers that are already enrolled onto the course, we created like an enemy instances where we had a main enemy script and then we had sub enemies down there and we could change that. We're going to do that for this scripting mechanism essentially. So we've got it's all going to be controlled from using our Dialog Manager. So our Dialog Manager is going to control our cameras, our panel, our text, and also the messages that are sent across. So for our messages, we are going to create another script, and this is what's going to become is going to be used by our Dialog Manager. And we're just going to call this dialog. We could call it messages, but no, it's called dialog, just to make sure I'm not going mad. Okay, so we don't need any of this. Don't need any of that. Oops, I deleted the wrong thing. Let's grab one of those, and delete that. Cool. And up here we can say system dots serializable. So this should pop up within our script. We can then say public string. So this is now going to be our array because this is going to manage all of our messages. So we can say messages. Cool. And that's that. That is as easy as pie to do. So kind of going a bit backwards, but our dialog script is going to become a part of Dialog Manager, and then we can instantiate that off again and again. So essentially that script is going to be almost like acting brand new every time. So let's save that. That's all we need for that. We don't need to worry about anything else for that for now, but we can call that up and add in strings and messages and stuff like that, because that's the main class that that script is holding. Okay, so we've got a dialog script, we've got a dialog manager, and so let's sort out our. We've actually got anything in our dialog manager at the moment. Let's have a look. I don't think I've even opened it. What's going on, Unity? It's never assigned yet. Okay, don't worry about it. Cool, lovely. Do we need to put anything into here? What do we need in here? What's in our NPC scripts? So we can add let's delete that string because we've already added that elsewhere. So we'll delete that. So we'll delete the private string, get rid of that. And what else will we delete? And then if we delete this, yeah, we'll delete that because I don't need that. And then we can add our new dialog. So if we go private, let's add dialog. So we can type in dialog and that should pop up. There it is. There's the class, and then we can just talk, and we can go underscore my dialog. So we're calling this my dialog because it's dialog specifically for the this NPC, okay? And that's what essentially that is doing. So again, when we talk about the instances, this text is going to work for every single other script for their own custom dialogue. So we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this over and over and over again. Cool. So once we've added my dialogue in the inspector NPC script, right, let's see if this is working. Let's save this. So when I did this the other day, I did have an error. I don't seem to have an error now. Let's make that disappear. Disable that. Let's go to our contact area. Oh, wicked, it's worked. So now we can see my dialogue. And if we put my messages, we can put size, we can put 3. And we've created our own custom messages now. So what we can do is, let's write these bits again. So captain, the ship is done for, and then we can write you must escape. Cool, save that. Lovely. So once we've done that, we can Command D, duplicate our robot. Yeah, it's double clicking. Yeah, let's put him all the way over there. So I'm going to rename this dude because he was Robot Kyle. Let's call him Robot Luke. And then let's rotate him 90. Oh, wrong way. Minus 90. Minus 90. There we go. And then we can make sure he's not getting in the way. I'll put him over there. Cool. And then we can say, let's say he's only got one line on his contact area. So we can change this. We can even just change this to 1, size 1, and then change that to system failure. Cool, lovely. So we've started to get our system together. Boy, the dinner's getting cold. I'm going to try and finish this off really quickly. Where if we draw from that dialogue script each and every time, we can create a custom string every single time. As before, we couldn't do that because we were only going from one string. Cool. Oh, Tom asked, what am I eating? I was eating a prawn spaghetti thing from Tesco Finest. It was banging, actually. It's about a month out of date, but it's pretty good. It's good stuff. So, where are we at with this? So we need to implement stuff into our Dialog Manager, don't we? So it can, because at the moment this won't work at all. I think this will be absolutely broken because we haven't got our Dialog Manager handling our panel or our text or anything like that. We've only got our messages sorted out. Okay. So if you try to test it and it's gone wrong, it will do. So what we're going to do is make sure we can use our Dialog Manager to sort out and organize and make appear and make the button work, and then come out and exit out of those bits, exit out of those dialogue pieces as well. Okay, Cool. So let's go. So we've duplicated our NPC, haven't we? Cool. We need to change. Oh yeah, we've changed the dialogue. Let's have a look at that Dialog Manager then. Cool. So at the moment we've got just start and update. Let's leave those for now, and let's have a look at what we can do. So we want our manager to manage everything, don't we? So what we're going to do is take elements from NPC and add them into our Dialog Manager. So first things first is we're going to do that camera. So we're going to go private, game object, and then again, exactly the same, dialog cam. Fantastic. Then we've got our panel. So private, game object, and we're going to call this underscore dialog panel. Then we've got our private text. So we will need using unity.engine. No, not unity.engine. What are you doing? Engine.ui. Lovely. Cool. Then we can say private text. And then we can call this dialog text. Lovely. So we are going to serialize all of these bad boys so we can pick them up. So we're going to serialize that field. We're going to serialize that field. And we're going to serialize, not serialize base. What are you doing? Serialize field. Cool. Lovely. So we're making sure that our Dialog Manager has central control, and at the moment let's just add a method, because I'll always forget this. I forgot the other day while writing this. Public void next. For our next button, I didn't do it the other day and I confused myself. So let's save that really quickly. Right, let's add those components in before we all go crazy. So let's save this script. So what we've done is essentially from NPC, we've taken the camera, we've taken the panel, and we've taken the text. We will get rid of these after a while, don't worry. And we're just setting this up first. The worst thing you can do is if you're moving things over or you're using a manager for things, if you're making things more dynamic, is to delete all of this and then forget what you did or what you called things, because then you're going to just do yourself over and it is no fun. So let's save this. Let's go back into Unity. And then on Dialog Manager, we can now see that it's asking for all of these lovely things. So first one is the camera. So the camera's there. Lovely. Let's drag that in. It's asking for the dialog panel. Where's that gone? There it is. Dialog panel. And then it's asking for the dialog text. So dialog text as well. Lovely. Brilliant. Cool. So once we've done that, we need to then get rid of those bits that we were just looking at in our NPC script, when we are just going to save that. So if we are doing this, make sure we save this. This is probably the longest tutorial I've ever done. It has been a bit relaxed, I get it, but it is a long old one. Let's have a look. Let's go to our NPC scripts. And so what we're going to do in our NPC script is we're going to delete all the variables apart from my dialog. So we're going to go all of those and say, see you later. So we're keeping my dialog, hopefully you remembered, because that's the custom dialog for that NPC. Okay. So if we don't need dialog text. That can go as well. Cool. So then what we've got, we can then clear everything that we have within update. Don't need that anymore. And then we can get rid of that. Dialog available, go, and we can get rid of that. So cool. Let's just show you this for what we've done. So let's make this nice and simple. So within our script now, we've just got the my dialog, because that's the custom dialog to this NPC. We've then got our on trigger state. I don't know why it's there. It's going now. We'll keep update because we need to say when we are engaging the player and how to change over the text. And then in the trigger, we need to keep if other player is tagged, because we don't want, we could put the input as well, but we'll just do on trigger enter for now. That's fine. Or could we leave the if input in there? I'll add it in later. It's all right. And then we'll do the exit trigger. So at the moment, the triggers won't be activated by the key of E. They will just be activated as soon as we hit those triggers. Okay, so when we're working like this, it's easier to probably see that workings out than doing E. But we can implement that in later if we want to. That's fine. We've still got another hour. So hour to kill. Lovely. So so we've left the if statements in there. That's good. So in the Dialog Manager script, we need to create this, and we need to make a singleton of it. So we need to make an instance of this script so it can be duplicated and used over and over again. Not this script, sorry. The Dialog Manager. Cool. So what we're going to do right at the top, let's do some space here, is we can say private static and then we're going to say Dialog Manager. There it is. And we can say this is an instance. Then we can say public static Dialog Manager. Let's say instance. If I can spell instance, and then there we can say get, and then we're going to return this over and over again, so it can be used over and over again. And debug. Let's not add that yet. So let's say if underscore instance. No. So we just need to return this. We just need to return this at the moment. Let's just return that. That's cool. Return. Oh no, it needs to say what we're returning. Instance. Cool, lovely. So that should make that an instance. So every time we use it, it will be new for that specific NPC script. Okay, so it will be dictating the panel and dialogue text and camera for that specific NPC, not all of them together. Okay, that's what essentially we have done there. Okay, so we can quickly create let's create a public private void awake. There we go. And then in here, we're going to say instance equals this. Cool. Wicked. If you're using like an absolute dinosaur version of Unity, maybe 2018 will probably be fine for this. But sometimes you need to say this .game object, but this that works. So if you get a red line under this, you will have to put this .game object, but that will work fine. So now we've got that sorted, we can, let's actually what I'm going to do is write a debug error just in case something's not talking to something. So we're going to say if our instance is not working, so if this isn't actually doing its job, if it's not equaling null, we can then say debug.log error, and then we can say DM is null. There we go. So Dialog Manager is null. That'll do. Just in case. Lovely. Let's save that. Cool. What else do we need? So we need to say when we have an active NPC, or when we hit our NPC, what's going to happen. So let's say, let's put that here. So let's create a new private. Hang on, no, it's going to need to be public because it's going to need to talk to everything else. So we're going to do a public void. Let's say it's called it active NPC. Lovely. And then we can say, oh, we want to link it to the dialog, so we can write dialog, so link that to the dialog, and then we can call this NPC dialog because obviously it's a variable, so it needs a name. So NPC dialog. And then we need to link this with a ball we can create. Let's create that later. That's fine. So a bit confusing because obviously we're creating an instance of this so it can be used over and over again. What's the most important part is probably this part here. So this is for our button. This is our nexus for our button. Active NPC is when we're engaging with our NPC, and obviously the variables, we're going to put those in a second, but we'll probably get those in on update. So let's quickly save this and go over to our NPC scripts and say on trigger enter, we can say let's create a ball of can talk. So create a mini variable or a inner variable. Can't remember the names. Can't think of any words today. And let's say my dialog. So it's your custom dialog dot messages dot length, and then we can say it's greater than 0. So if we go up to a character and they have something within their string elements that is greater than 0 or 0 or greater than 0. So where am I going? So if I go, why can't I go into Unity? Don't just save it, don't be annoying. So if I went onto my NPC and saw that their size was greater than 0, obviously here we can then see they have an element, then we can create. Then we can have a conversation with them. Cool. So, and that's why we have this. Cool. Lovely. We then can talk to our dialog manager and say that the instance, we need that to kick in, .active NPC, and then we can say underscore my dialog, and then we can say can talk. Lovely. Brilliant. So, ooh, why isn't it like that? Dialog Manager. Let's have a look at this. So we want an instance of this. Oh, because you haven't got can talk in there. Apologies. So we need can talk in our Dialog Manager. We need it here, so we can just put ball can talk. Lovely. Save that in Dialog Manager, and then over here in NPC can talk. Lovely, lovely, no error. Fantastic, cool. So let's go over to our Dialog Manager. Let's see if we can get this all sorted now. So we need to have a look at let's create. So we need to engage our NPC. So if we say private ball engage NPC. Does that need to be anything else? No. And then we can say under this we can say private. Let's call up dialog. There it is. So we're going to call up that dialog again, that instance, and then we can say active. Active dialog. Cool. Lovely. So we are calling up active dialog to obviously get our dialog to appear and to change. We need to engage the NPC so we can then disengage our NPC so we can then get out of that conversation, because at the moment there's been never a point that we could get out of that conversation, so we need to make sure we have ourselves covered there as well. Okay, so in update we need to say if we engage our NPC and it's true, we need to say that our dialog camera is obviously set active to true. We've also got our dialog panel dot set active, which is also true. We then need to say our text dot text is equal to the active dialog, which will then take from our dialog script up there. So why does it not like that? Oh, because I haven't put messages dot length and 0. Lovely. Oh, why is it like that? Oh, because I don't need to say how long they are, I just need to say that they're starting at 0. Cool. So in our update, if we engage with an NPC and it's true, our camera will be set to active, our dialog panel will be set to active as well, and our text, whatever our text is, will be coming from our dialog text here. So, and obviously this is stringed within our, where did we put it? There it is, active dialog, yeah. Oh, sorry, it is our active dialog. Apologies, get myself confused. So, so we can call this at any time for any player. Wicked. And then just put in instantly, we don't have to code anything, we can write in those string texts dialogue constantly. It's easy, we don't need to confuse ourselves. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So when we have an active NPC, we need to say that active dialog equals our NPC dialog, which is above. Fantastic. Then we can say that engage NPC equals can talk. Lovely. So that makes all of those true when we're actively speaking to our NPC. Right. Let's see if this actually works, because we've done a load here and I've been fiddling around with loads of different things to try and get this management system. Let's see if it works. So we've got, let's have a look. Did we add those? Well, first, let's see if Unity likes it. Ooh, oh, that's okay. I'm fine with that. Dialog Manager, everything. Oh, we've added those in. I remember doing that. Let's press play. Let's see if this works. So let's go to this dude first because he should say system failure. Oh, there we go. He's triggered straight away. System failure, and then our buttons popped up there as well. Fantastic. Cool. Lovely. We need to sort out. Oh yeah, we haven't done that yet. Cool. So that's come up with system failure. Lovely. So it hasn't just taken everything from the other script. Let's play this again and let's have a look at our other chap. And obviously it's triggering instantly because I haven't. Oh man, which one am I going to? I can't remember. Let's go to this fella. Captain. Lovely. So we need to get that button working so we can get out of these conversations. Cool. Lovely. So, and I'm not worried about that. Quickly save that because that's working. And what we can do is let's bring this up again and go to our next button. And oh man, I don't know if my head's in the way. I don't know. Is it going to catch up? Oh, nads. I don't know. Can I move this? I'll move that there. Let's see if this works. I'm waiting for the stream to catch up so I can have a quick look. I think I'm going to be covering the on-click section. So we need to get our next button moving, and you can see here we've got on-click under our button. So we need to get a method. Not a method, we need to get a game object in there. So am I there yet? Come on past Kyle, sort it out. Oh yeah, it is pretty much covered. Yeah, cool. I'm done. I think I've done the right thing. So what we're going to do is on click. If we click this plus, we can see that we need an object, and it's asking for a game object. So if we look at our dialog manager here, whoops, click on the next button, and we need to drag in our dialog manager into this section there. Cool, lovely. We then need to find a function. So that function is going to be, if we go to Dialog Manager, and we're going to go to Next. We haven't implemented it in yet, but we may as well get it set up and going that way. Cool, lovely. So once we click Next, we can see that the Dialog Manager.next is going to, whatever we implement there is going to change. So with this, we need to change the text. We need to make sure the button is going to change the text, but more importantly, we need to know that once we finish the text, that we need to get out of that dialogue conversation as well. Okay, so that's the most important part that we need to implement with our button. Okay, so let's go with, let's go into here in our dialog manager. So let's have a look at this. What we probably need to do first, let me think about this. So if we call up our text, so what does that next button need to do? Let's do some pseudocode. Let's be. So our next button needs to eventually disable the camera. It needs to disable our panel. It needs to and then here. So if it disables the camera, it will take us out of the dialogue conversation. Takes the panel. We need to disable panel. Disable text. Is that all we need to do? How can we do that? Okay, and then we need to be able to loop it. So, or let's say go back into conversation, or yeah, allow us to talk to NPC again. So brackets. I'm just going to write loop. So we do need to loop that. And then we need to, let's say, what we can do, well, I know what I definitely can write. We can say engage NPC is definitely going to equal false. So we're going to come out of that. That's definitely going to be a thing. So if we disable our camera, we are going to say, no, there's got to be a better way of doing this. Because we need to know when we're there, so we need to create an if statement. It's going to be an if statement. Cool. So let's get rid of that at the moment. So that's, well, it's not wrong. It's not wrong, but we need to all put this in an if statement. So this needs to be if something. Okay, so let's say we could call this last message or something like that from our dialogue, like last piece of dialogue. Okay, yeah, okay, that's cool. Let's create. So how are we going to know we're on the last one? Because it needs to know about the elements. So the way we can do this is by, if we look at Unity, and we can see that our text, where are we looking? Where is it? Our contact area, size 1. So that is a whole number. So when we string an array, we can control integers. So if we can control integers with our strings, let's create an integer variable called last message, and that will be able to control, and then once it's gone through numbers, because it will default at 0, yeah, let's work that. So let's say private integer current, let's put last message. Equals to 0. So if we say last message is equal to 0, we can then say if underscore last message is, what is last message doing? Is true. No. What are we in next, aren't we? Is so if last message is current is over or equal to, can we say active dialogue? Active dialogue dot messages. I have to do this again. Dot messages dot length. We can then say all this. Let's get rid of that. Let's just clear that out. And then we can say, all of that works. So we can say dialog camera set active is then going to be false. And then we can set that for our panel dot set active is false. Then we can say active dialog is then also nothing null, we're done. And then we can say engage NPC is also done, so we can say that's false because that was a bool. Do we need can talk? No, because we can put that in. No, can talk is our active dialogue anyway, isn't it? So that'll be fine. Cool. Right, let's keep that for the moment. If we engage the NPC, it's true, so that means our last message will be at 0 because we're at the start of that. And every time we click next, we're going to go through a different message. So if we say underscore last message plus plus, so anyway, it doesn't work as a last message, does it? And that's confusing. Let's say, let's just see if that works. Oh, we haven't looped it. Let's loop it. Return. There we go. Cool. So, have we got everything there? No. Active dialogue 0. Last message equals 0. So, okay, so we want to control the. Oh, I've lost it now. Flipping heck. I'll give me an error. That's good. So we want to control these numbers. This is the whole point of having last message. Okay. So if we control it through an integer, we can control when we go through the messages. So we've said at our last message. So messages are initially at 0. Okay. So if messages are initially at 0, when we engage our NPC, messages are at 0. Then we can skip through our messages and we can go into each one plus plus by clicking next, which is there. Then once we've got to the end of that, if last message is got to the end of the full length of our messages, so we've gone for the full length, we are then deactivating all of this. Just messed that up, good. Disengaged with our NPC, and then once we've come out of it, we've got return to loop it again so we can go back and talk to our robot again. So in active dialog.messages, we need to put last message. Lovely, cool. Because then because we know that's 0. We don't really need that then, do we? Let's just keep it there. That's working for me. Let's save this. Oh man, I feel like I'm missing something here. What am I missing? Could I be missing something? So if I return it, what's my text doing? I haven't talked about my text in here, have I? I think we would have a problem. Right, okay, I know what we can do. We can say underscore dialog text dot text is equal to active dialog, which will then be null dot messages, and then we can say last message. That should fix that. Let's give that a try. Okay, so press play. Oh, come on, compile. Press play. And so let's walk up to this NPC. Captain, lovely. So, oh flipping heck, we've created essentially. I've seen what the problem is here. As you can see, I'm trying to move my mouse, look, and nothing's popping up. This is because the first-person controller we've got has got rid of the cursor. So if we click escape, we should be able to go captain. Click next. Oh, what happened there? Oh, it doesn't like that, does it? It's always, why is it always returning there? Okay, we've got an issue. Something's not quite returning, is it? It's trying to always shooting back. Are we returning too quickly? Let's have a look. Got a bug, folks. We've got a bug. Let's have a look. Last message active is true. Dialog.text active.messages is last message. So engage NPC. Okay. Let's just put that everywhere. Just in case. Maybe that will fix that. Let's see, let's have a look at that. Oh, why has that happened? Let's disable that. Let's press play again. Cool, not there. Let's walk up to this chap. Captain, are you going to allow us to skip? That's not what's going on here. So it might be in that next button. Let's have a look at that next button. So 0 is default anyway, isn't it? Is that? Yeah, last message is always going to be 0. And then if we engage, so engaging our NPC, our camera becomes true, our panel becomes true. We then have our text that then activates the dialog. Dot messages last message. Last message 0 doesn't need to be there because we've already put it. Doesn't need to be there. Then we've got our void next, which is last message plus plus. And if last message is greater or equal to the active dialog message at its full length, we then deactivate it all. So we deactivate our camera, we deactivate our panel. Our active dialog is null. Our NPC engagement as false. We then return that. We then go to our dialog text.text. Active messages. Why is this doing this? Maybe it was that. Maybe it was the update because it was unload more frames and everything else. And then we've got active. Our active NPC was active NPC doing was dialog can talk. Last fish is 0. Let's see if this works. If it was just that one bit of line on update, that's going to be so annoying. Right, let's walk up to him. Captain. Okay, cool. It was. There we go. The ship is done for. You must escape. And then we can go next. There we go. Fantastic. And then if we press escape again, we can get out of that. Lovely. So we've been in that conversation. We should then be able to go over to this dude. There we go. System failure. Next. It should take us out of it. Oh, no, it doesn't like that. Oh, hang on. Click next. There we go. Cool. So we're out of that conversation. Lovely. Can we go into them again? There we go. Captain. Oh, come on. The ship is done for. We must escape. Next. Lovely. Do that again. System failure. Next. Lovely. Fan-dabby doozy. Cool, there we go. We have created, a bit confusing, but it can be implemented everywhere else. It can be used over and over again, which is nice and lovely. What extra bits can we do? Can we see if this got any? What is this rebel? Any animations? Got textures. It's got models. It hasn't got no animations. Lame. Cool. I don't know how everybody's. So there's been some chat. That's good. Wicked. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. It has been nearly 3 hours. We've been doing it for a good amount of time. It's been a lengthy old journey. I'm going to save this as well. It's with people following along. Is there any issues? I know I'm 30 seconds in front, but I will hang around and see if there is any issues at all. I'll keep an eye on the messages. Obviously, we can go into mixer mode, and you can just crack an animator and an idle on them, and they could just loop over that idle, and that would look really, really good. And this can help, obviously, for the final major project where we're creating our first-person shooters. This will help a lot. So if you know this, you are a massive benefit to your fellow teammates on there. Cool. It's been a bit of a marathon, hasn't it? It's been a good one. Cool. Well, this was defeated instead of creating a Fruit Ninja ripoff. It's one of the first games I actually ever kind of made or put together as like a little Fruit Ninja thing. So, well, let's have a look. Wicked. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. This video will remain up. It will not be deleted, don't worry. Just make sure you take notes, otherwise you've got to shift through nearly 3 hours of this video. So that is really annoying. If you are brand new and you are thinking, what has just happened? That looks like the most confusing course, whatever. That bit was, but there is a lot more easier things and way more other things we do in games design as well for the H&D. We do have the level 6 very fast approaching as well, so you can get your full degree with us very, very soon. We're currently working on a project with Rare and Xbox Game Studios, where they have set us a brief to create a prototype game which is a force for good. So, and as you can see, we had a conversation with a couple of my learners discussing sort of mental health and stuff like that, which is absolutely fantastic. I think it needs to be approached, and people need to talk about their mental health a lot more, and it needs to be we need to get rid of that stigma. And if we can get rid of that stigma through gaming and better understanding of mental health and triggers for that as well, that's absolutely fantastic. So I will see you very soon. I'm uploading videos all the time. Obviously, if you are part of the H&D Games Design, you are getting so much more content than you do from just watching on YouTube and stuff like that. And so if you actually want to, instead of just watching a load of YouTube tutorials of making games, get a degree that's actually recognised, or a qualification or diploma that is recognised by the industry, and helped many people get jobs within the industry as well. So instead of just sort of just sitting there wondering what you can do and seeing all these other courses that are saying, oh, we can give you a certificate saying that you got this, actually own a degree. You can do it. You are we have the supportive tutors there. We're growing ever stronger and better each and every time. It's mad of how this course started in 2016 with 8 members and making these tiny little 2D games. It's mad how it's grown into where we're making anything we want now, and we're making really games that are acknowledged by the industry as well, which is even better. Hence why we've got the work experience. So I'm going to stop talking now. I think it'll be best. Hope you've enjoyed this. I will see you very, very soon. Some people are saying thank you. No, thank you. You've been awesome. I hope this has helped. I might have to make maybe a bit of a clearer video, because obviously there was things that just confused me. We've spelt the word dialogue about 20 million times within this session as well. So yeah, it can get really confusing and stuff like that. But you will eventually understand it. It is, unfortunately, games design is one of those things where practice does make perfect. You just got to keep nailing at it and stuff like that. I learned these things by implementing them, not just once and then just going, oh yeah, I'll write those notes, but doing them again and again and again, but changing them. So so here we've done it for a first person. Maybe do it for a third person. There might not be different elements, but still it's training your brain, remembering what you're doing, and especially of how those scripts are talking to each other and working to create this unique dialogue management system. Try and implement it into a 2D game. Remember, the things that we've done here can all be implemented into 2D as well. So it'd be really good to see that in a 2D context as well. What else could you do with this? You could do lots of things with it, because really we've just named everything. So the way I try and think of when I'm putting a script together is when we think about that pseudocode, think about every single process. And the first thing I do is, what elements do I already have in my hierarchy? That's the first thing I always do when I'm writing a script or even teaching a script. The first thing we did was add that camera into our hierarchy. So what am I going to call up? I'm going to call up that game object and drag it in. And the easiest thing I know, apart from doing tags and triggers, is set active. Can you see it? No. Is it disabled? Yes. So don't overcomplicate it. I think that's what a lot of people have problems with in games design. They see these tutorials and get really confused by it and stuff like that. And by no means have I done this off the top of my head this evening for 3 hours. There was bits that I've got wrong in my notes, 100%, but I still need to write notes to do these things. I'm not a machine. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so I have to write things to remind me, and even things of what instances are, and keywords to things, because you're not a machine, and you're not a cheat if you just can't remember it off the top of your head. Make sure you write notes, make sure you use those notes, and you support each other when you're making these games as well. Okay, cool. Right, I'm going finally. See you very soon. Lovely to see some of my old students on here as well.